Hello and welcome to the Eyes of Life show. I am your host, Yolo Schubert, and today's show is going to be pertaining to our Black History Month. But before I go into um, the things we're going to talk about during Black History Month, I want to send some condolences out to my South Carolina family in the Edgefield, Plum Branch, and McCormick area. I would like to send my condolences to the Lanham and Gilchrist family, my family, and let them know that my heart is with them in their time of need and they're doing while they're going through their condolences of the loss of their mother. So I want to definitely send my prayers and to my cousins down there for the loss of cousin Bob. So Calvin, Julia, you and your siblings, all of y'all have my deepest condolences. Also to the Garrett Scurry family, Freeman family, for the loss of our cousin Mayola's son and grandson. I want to also send the condolences out to that family. Cousin Ella, you are in my prayers as always. And we must just keep our family in prayer. Please check up on everyone, even though you may think, oh, well, they're young, they're not sick. Um, but I would definitely uh, try to keep them in prayer. Keep in contact with them. Let them know that you care. Let them know that, hey, we may not be around each other all the time, but you are definitely in my heart and prayers. And that's how I feel about my Southern family. I'm not around them. I love them, but hey, we live in different areas, but my heart is always with them. My heart is always there. It's like that old song they say, your body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town. Well, my heart is always in Edgefield, McCormick, and Plum Branch, Abbeville. It's always there. So I wanted to lead with that this today. So as we get started on our topic today, on the Eyes of Life show, we're going to talk about Black History Month. So, one thing about Black History Month that I always loved growing up was the fact that I got to watch everything that taught me a little bit about history. And what it taught me about history was that all the things that took place. Now, some of it was sugar coated. Yes, it was. And some of it was not sugar coated. So, um, with that said, I would love to go into some things that I am going to talk about, which is going to be things you probably didn't know were created by Black people, Black inventors. So, one of the couple of things that, they really never led into much about the inventions of Black people, like what they invented. You always heard about Madam C.J. Walker, things like that. So this month, we're going to talk about cabinets, the folding cabinet bed. We're going to talk about potato chips, uh, gas masks, the protective mailbox, blood banks, improved ironing boards, home security. These the three light traffic lights, refrigerated trucks. I mean, these are things like I had no idea. Electric microphone, um, the color IBM PC monitor, and the gigahertz chips, super soaker, tissue holder, peanut butter, liposcopical, uh, which is something to do with laser science, automatic gear shift, clothes dryers, dust pans, folding chairs, golf trees, ice cream scoopers, lawn mowers, lawn sprinklers, modern toilets, the mop, reversible baby strollers. So when you start talking about Black history, these are all the things that our people invent. They invented these things, but we would never know it when these large corporations that are ran, you would never know that, hey, these things were originally made by, or thought of, or invented by a Black person. So all month long, the only thing we're going to talk about is how these things were invented and who they were invented by. We're going to also talk about some foods that, our ancestors used to love to eat. Some dishes, they say, oh, that's an Italian dish, or, oh, that's a Jamaican dish, you know. But these are dishes that we would cook and make for our enslavers. These are meals and the slops that they would give to us to eat that now they sell in stores. Like, for instance, chicken feet. That was a meal for us. Now they profiting off of it. Um, Things like hog mugs, cow tongue, uh, pigtails, neck bones. These are things that our ancestors created meals out of. These are things that they used and they survived and they fed and they were able to feed their families. Although they were poor, they still managed to eat because they knew a way how to eat. So when I start looking back at some of the things that like, don't get me wrong. So when you're looking at these shows and you seeing them back in the 1800s, and when and they're talking about, oh, let me catch that squirrel, or oh, let me get that possum, or wait a minute, is that a raccoon? That's a coon. Let me get that coon. Our ancestors made a meal with that. It wasn't like, oh, I'm not eating that. They didn't have the options that we have today. So they were always in survival mode. So just think about it. If we had to go back during that time, and if we were forced to be put back in that time, how would you survive? Would you be able to survive? Or have life lessons in the life you live in now today in this society, okay, has spoiled you so much that you forgot or you never knew what it was, because maybe you wasn't born in the 60s or you wasn't born in the 50s. You were born in maybe the 70s or the 80s or the 90s, and you didn't get to see that grandparent or that great grandparent or that great great grandparent or that great aunt or that great uncle or you just get to see some of the things that they were cooking. I recall when I was a child that, and this is in the 70s before my great grandmother passed away. and they had went hunting and they caught a possum and they cooked it. They cleaned it up, skinned it and everything they did and cooked it. And I ate some. And the kids was teasing me, telling, "Oh, you're going to turn into a possum the next day." You know, these are things that they did. So when I tell you that, okay, our ancestors survived, they learned to survive and they learned to cook the things that they wanted to survive off of, and it was delicious. And they always say, "Oh, everything tastes like chicken." Rabbits. Uh, that was a meal. Um, get a whole chicken. That was a meal. So when I think about those times and I think about Black History Month, I think about not just one Black person. I think about all of them. All of them. Even if you were free and you never experienced that slavery, you experienced being Black. You experience not being able to just do what you wanted to do because just the color of your skin. So that's why Black History Month is so important, that we honor all of our Blacks. We go ahead and we show them, hey, let me tell you, we're going to honor our Black ancestors. We're going to honor our people because guess what? They were the ones that let us know that, hey, we're definitely going to teach you, we're going to show you how to survive. So when you're down on money and you're down and you feel like, oh, my luck is about to run out, how am I going to feed my children? That ancestor, you could have learned something from. I feel sorry for the parents today because they're not going to really know how to make that pot of lima beans and them smoked neck bones or them smoked turkey butts. They're not going to know. Oh, I don't eat beans. I don't want no beans. They're not going to know how to make the least expensive amount of food to eat. So these are things about Black History Month we should be actually embracing. We should be trying to figure out, hey, let me learn a thing or two. Let me see, what is the oldest relative I can go to in my family that I live close by? And they can teach me how to make some collard greens from scratch. Or they can teach me how to make some chicken noodle soup from scratch. Or they can teach me how to make a beef stew from scratch. They could teach me how to make a pot of rice. You'd be surprised how many children do not. And I say children because these are kids, these are young adults and young parents that are like my daughter's age. They're in their 30s or they're in their late 20s or middle 30s or early 30s or late 20s or middle 20s. They don't know how to make Carolina rice. They don't even know what Carolina rice is. Now, you can't make rice unless you know how to make Carolina rice. A lot of them don't know. Give me Uncle Ben's or give me the bag, the rice in the bag. So they are going to have a hard time if push come to shove in this country. So we, as in this month of Black History Month, let's educate our children. Let's educate our grandchildren. Let's teach them the survival mode. Because one thing they knew how to do is eat. Even when they couldn't afford the best things, they made sure their children ate. Even if they didn't get credit for creating a dish, they ate. Sweet potato pies, they came up with that idea. Egg pies, coconut custard. These are things that, they were in those kitchens cooking. So these are things that we have to definitely talk about honoring in Black History Month, in the month of February. When I was talking to a cousin of mine, and she asked me, she said, well, it's Black History Month. This is the shortest month of the year, but this is the only month they gave us. And I always think about that and I say, okay, well, they gave us the shortest month of the year, but you know what? We're going to make the best of that month. So when I go to say I'm going to honor my ancestors for the whole month of Black history, I don't have just one ancestor that I'm going to honor, or one uncle or one aunt. I don't have one cousin that I'm just going to honor. I'm going to honor them all. I'm going to honor every last one of them. Why? Because they came through a struggle in a period of time that we would have never been able to survive. I know I wouldn't have been able to be out there doing picking cotton and tobacco and sugar, 10 acres per person. I wouldn't have been able to do it. So when you talk about honoring them, how they came over on those ships, like they were packed in sardines. If you ever opened up a can of sardines and saw how they were packed in there, that's how they were packed in the belly of those ships. Some of them never seen water. So yeah, we need to take a good look at how we can utilize the shortest month of the year that we were given to make it the best month of every month they have in a year. You got 12, but this is the shortest. So we need to make sure we make the best of that. Let's educate our people. It wasn't that our ancestors, no, they wasn't stupid. They had very sharp minds. When you start talking about who built the South, I must give honor and respect to my cousin Gene Key. That's in my, he's from my Key family, my white Key line. Okay. He this week actually didn't have to do it, but he said, I am 80 something years old. He said, and I've never said this. He said, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Your ancestors, your Black ancestors, they are the ones that built the South. He said, and I appreciate everything that they had done and that they did. He said, and if more people would give them the credit that they need and stop trying to exclude, this will be a better place. This world will be better. And I thanked him because I didn't expect that for him. I didn't ask him to tell me about, my ancestors building the South and what they did and how they put the railroad. They built those railroad tracks. They dug those trenches to put them tracks in there and nailed those spikes and everything into the ground. That was on the backs of them. So yes, we should honor them. We should never say, oh, they were in the past, they don't know nothing about me. But if it wasn't for them doing the things that they did, we would have never been able to have some of the luxuries that we have today. For instance, the roads. They done that. That's how we got roads transporting back and forth. The railroad tracks. That's how we're able to jump on a train. So just think about that. So you got a vehicle, but you don't have no road to drive it on. So you go ride it through the dirt, the grass, the little hills, the mountains. No. Our ancestors did that. So they have a lot to be honored for because we're living off of the backs of their sacrifices and the things that they did for us. So yes, this month, we're going to talk about all that. We're going to honor every last person that we can. So we're going to make the month of February exciting about our ancestors. If there's someone that that did something amazing in history, don't be afraid to shout it out to the world. Okay? Don't be afraid. Send me an email, the eyes of life show at gmail.com. Letting me know so I can shout out your ancestor. Letting me know what they've done. If they were a preacher, if they were just a humble servant of God. Because let me tell you about them preachers. Okay, they helped with some freeing some of these slaves. They utilized their church. They put their churches and their lives on the line to help some of these people to freedom. We all know the story of Harriet Tubman. But what about some of these stories that we don't know? Let's talk about those stories. Let's talk about Shields Green, who fought with John Brown on Harper's Ferry. You know, these are people and stories and lives that they are not known today. They don't talk about these people. You know, it's so much that we miss, and it's so much to our history. It's so much to our history till it's not a joke, it's not funny, but it's very wise to know. We need to know that about our history. We need to take a look at it. It can help us be a better me. It can help you be a better you. It'll help our children know from which loins and how they came. So let Black History Month be educational for you. Let it be something you're going to look forward to and working towards getting to know. Each day, do something. Teach your kids something that you may find out about your relative. If they were in the paper, say something about them. They helped build the church. Talk about it. I don't care if it was the 1920s, the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. If they did something, they deserve to be talked about. That's the bottom line. If they endured slavery and they had to bear children from their enslaver, honey, a lot of them didn't do it willingly. That's something to talk about. They endured that. They endured those times. So it's never, oh, that's the past. Let the past be the past. No, honey, because if it wasn't for the past, you wouldn't have this future that you have now in this present and present day and time. We talk about Martin Luther King, his fight for our struggle for the rights. Rosa Parks for us to sit on the bus, but there was somebody before Rosa Parks that's not talked about in our history books. There were many people before Rosa Parks, but they're not talked about in our history books. So there's a lot of people. Let's talk about those people. Let's not forget about those people. Do a little history. Let your children be taught outside the box besides what they're narrowing down in our school system. Let them know that they can be inventors. They can be CEOs. That they can be the best business person in the world. They could be the president of the United States if they want to. Let our children know. And that's what Black History Month should mean for us. Teaching, educating, showing us, okay, we may have been in bondage, but look what we did once we got freed. So if we did this when we got freed, and some of them did some stuff while we were still in bondage, That should tell you that we were never really illiterate. We didn't know your language, but we knew ours. We knew math before we got here. We knew math before you loaded us on the belly of those ships. We knew how to read in our own language before you loaded us in the belly of those ships. It was when you brought us here that we became illiterate to your language, but not that we didn't know and we wasn't able to learn. We were definitely able to learn. That's an understatement to say we wasn't. But we weren't allowed to learn out of fear. So we're going to talk this month about all the things that our Black people have done, all the things that they invented. I was actually shocked to know that a Black person invented the potato chip. I was shocked. A folding cabinet bed. I had no idea. And a woman did it. Now that's something. So let me talk about some of these women. Sarah Good, folding cabinets, potato chips, George Crumb, the gas mask, Garrett Morgan, okay, protective mailboxes, Philip B. Downing. These are some incredible things that we are finding out that were done. The blood bank. Okay, like, come on, separating the cells, the plasma. Charles Richard Drew. These are some major things that are being done in history. Amazing. The improved iron board, home security system. I mean, this is crazy. Mary Van Britton Brown. You know, come on. The three light traffic lighting, Garrett Morgan. Refrigerator truck, Frederick McKinley Jones. Come on, y'all. The traffic light, every day. It's used every single day. So is his family reaping the wealth from that traffic light? Is his family reaping anything? So let's think about that. Refrigerator trucks, Frederick McKinley Jones. Are they benefiting? Are they families getting any type of generational wealth from off these inventions? These things are constantly being used daily. But these were Black inventors. So I say, yes, this one, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about where they were from. We're going to give them their flowers. We're going to let them know, hey, we haven't forgotten about you. There are at least 120 Black inventors. The automatic elevator doors, electric microphones, the IBM PC monitor and gigahertz chips, the super soaker, tissue holder, peanut butter, laser science, okay, automatic gear shift, clothes dryer, the dustpan, I'm sorry, folding chair, golf tees, ice cream scooper, lawnmowers, lawn sprinkler, modern toilet, the mop, reversible baby strollers, drag queens. I still have yet to figure out what the drag queens are, but that was a William Dorsey Swan. These are things that were done. So we should be, very excited about these people. Airplane propellers, James S. Adams, biscuit cutter, A.P. Ashbourne, coin changer, James A. Buer. Once again, we have to give them they just do and let them know that we know that these were your inventions and that yes, your families need to be benefiting from them because they're being used every day. They're benefiting from generational wealth doing things, so why aren't they getting generational wealth? So these are a lot of things that we talk about and we think about. So um, I pray that their families are reaping benefits from this, you know, because they deserve it. They are the ones that did the invention. So I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining the Eyes of Life show today. And everybody have a good evening. And I'll see you next Thursday. And we're going to continue to talk about the inventions that are being made by our Black fellow ancestors, whether they male or female. So once again, I thank you for joining us. And once again, everybody have a good evening. And thanks for watching.